So the Matrix has been around since the beginning. We had a hunter-gatherer. The first Matrix was the hunter-gatherer Matrix, right? The hunter-gatherer Matrix was as it's described. The Matrix was way more harsh. It was a more natural. We were closer to the elements in that Matrix, in that version of the Matrix. It was not a digitized Matrix. That Matrix operated against the natural world, pestilence, death. Now, what were the governing bodies in that Matrix? The governing bodies were small tribes. Leadership was won through competence, face-to-face interactions, as well as the terrain was way more pronounced. It required for there to be more manual labor against just to exist. So that Matrix was very harsh. Then we moved to the agricultural Matrix. Now that Matrix was when man had started finding places to settle. And that's actually what the cause of war is, settlement, right? The hunter-gatherer Matrix was way too harsh for there to be war because there was nothing to fight over. In the agricultural Matrix became a place of stake. Whose land did this belong to? So this is where we get sovereign states and nations and organized religion. Agriculture also became where a lot of the organized religious dogma became. And then we had the industrial Matrix. This was a shift. This was a shift more into ingenuity as well as individual endeavor. This version of the Matrix was more specialized because the societal norms became way more important. So in the first Matrix, there was no societal norms, right? It was the hunter-gatherers Matrix. We developed those societal norms in the agricultural Matrix because that is where society comes from. If you have no reliable food source, you cannot sustain a society. That's why the hunter-gatherer Matrix was a hunter-gatherer Matrix, because you had to move with the game. The game would move, so you would have to move with the game, right? The agricultural Matrix made it to where we could stay in one place, and when you stay in one place, you need a chain of command. And when you get a chain of command, that's when you get a society, right? Then the industrial Matrix. The industrial Matrix became the bedrock for a lot of the differences in philosophy, right? The industrial Matrix was a different revolution because no longer was life about sustaining. It was about quality. It was no longer about the quantity of how long you lived. Now it was now in the industrial Matrix, it's about the quality of life, because to fuel the industry, remember, we have new industries. We have reliable food source. We have reliable hospitals. We have reliable families. So now we're no longer in survival mode. We're in thrival mode. We're in we want to extend our greatness. This was a part of the Industrial Revolution, right? Then you get what we're in now, the meta matrix or the digitized matrix. Now, industry has fully embodied. Now it is more of a focus on perception of your quality of life, right? So it used to be the picket fence, the American dream. That was a part of that old matrix stuff, that industrial matrix. But now it's about who's the boss. Now it's about reaching the highest, the pinnacle, right? It's about highlight reels, right? This is where the digitized matrix, see, the problem with the digitized matrix is the digitized matrix is fantasy, right? So you have everything, but you have the illusion that you have nothing. So it furthers you into the fantasy, into the digitized matrix, into the pixels, into the validation from the post, into the validation from the pixels, right? What comes after this version of the matrix, because we are in those of us who were born after 2000 and onward, we are the turning point of we live through the turning point of the industrial matrix. The industrial matrix version of the matrix ended about 2002. Really right after 2001, right? That's when the meta matrix started coming. 2008 is when MySpace came out in 1999, but that was that was very, 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 very before its time. So the new matrix really officially started in 2008, right? The meta matrix actually started 2008. I am older than the meta matrix. If you were born before 2008, you experienced the turning point. You experienced the equivalent of the Industrial Revolution. Because now we're in the age of AI. Now we're in the age of alternative facts. Now we're in the age of you can only know the truth if you're in the know, right? Like now we're in the age of information. That's another add-on to this matrix. This is why you see so many people with the wokeness and waking up and trying to deceive people into all types of debauchery and all types of new age shit to gain supporters. Because this new matrix operates off of fantasy. Remember, fantasy, it's digitized, it's fantasy, and it really leads into the next version of the matrix that shall come in the next 100 years. So yes, I said that correctly. The next version of the matrix will come in the next 100 years. It will be that short. So if you notice, all the other versions of the matrix lasted for thousands of years, for a very long period of time in between. You had the hunter-gatherers matrix, you had the agricultural matrix, then you had the industrial matrix, right? There was a big gap in between that agricultural and industrial. That hunter-gatherer, there's probably an even bigger gap between that, right? But you see the industrial matrix started with the Industrial Revolution of 1895. And we ended that version of the matrix in 2008. So that was about, that's less than 200 years. That is astronomical. That shows you how big of a jump humanity made. Humanity made a huge jump. We made a huge jump in the course in the course of less than 200 years. And this next one, so when I say this next one is coming in the next 100 years, that is astronomical. It's actually probably going to come sooner than that. Because we have AI to assist us now to finish making it sentient.